webinar, 6 Secrets of Managerial Success, a webinar to master extraordinary managerial skills. I'm super excited to present my thoughts and ideas about what management is all about. I'll share my personal stories as we go along. But before we begin, just want to not only welcome you, but talk about some of the ground rules. And if I can move the slide just once again. Okay, next. All right, there's some ground rules here. There is a chat window for you. You can see if you're using Zoom for the first time, if you scroll to the top or to the bottom of your screen, you'll see the chat window, which you can use to answering or asking questions. And I'll try my best possible throughout the presentation to help answer those. And then the webinar will be recorded and made available to you at the conclusion. So as a moderator, Julie, could you please start the recording? So the webinar now is in the recording mode. Okay, so I'm getting this thing next. Okay, I can only move. Okay, all right. So let me begin with, I hope you can see my screen as I'm talking. The biggest challenge that we face as a manager in a workforce is the rapidly changing the workplace. The workplace is very dynamic. It's very hard for ourselves as such to get the work done on your own. And if you have recently taken a management position, you're now responsible for getting the work done by other people, not alone yourself, but others as well. And then you're sandwiched with your boss as well. There are expectations of the boss. At the same time, your boss is expecting things to be done sooner, better, faster, cheaper. So how do you deal with the growing stress as caught in between a hard rock and a hard place, and still succeed as a manager? My goal today is to provide my insights to management success and how to master these skills needed to be successful in the workplace. Not only that, what will make this different is you can then leverage these ideas for your own advantage, achieve greater satisfaction, and also make an impact. And I think that's what we are all about, making an impact. I'm Vivek Agrawal. I'm a certified business coach. I have 27 plus years of work experience in management at Intel Corporation. In fact, 27 years is a long time for myself. The best way I can describe my career is I started as an individual contributor, designed the original Intel 386 SL processor. And then towards the end of my career, I was leading worldwide technical marketing team for the PCs. I have a master's in computer engineering from USC, University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and an MBA from San Jose State University. And when I'm too much stressed with the day-to-day activities, I emote through the musician that is in my heart. I enjoy music. I play drums specifically, and that's my emoting exercise as well as my passion too. With that said, I started my career as an individual contributor, as I call it, from mailroom, getting and treading my journey all the way to the executive, or call it the boardroom. I rose through the ranks despite organizational changes and multiple bosses that we had. As I said earlier, changes are so rapid in this high-tech industry that if the organization would survive for 6 months at Intel, you would say it's a success. But nonetheless, as time progressed and as I rode the wave of the company's growth as well, I built and managed worldwide organizations with greater than 100 people, some as close to 150 and sometimes even close to 200. And these were worldwide: Shanghai, India, Taiwan, Japan, you name it, including in the United States, multi-sites. We had a team in Folsom, Sacramento, Oregon, in Santa Clara. So as you can see, the changes and walking through these changes, what I'll start to share is some ideas and wisdom words around what I I found as I grew my career as a manager, as a leader within this company. So after doing this for 27 plus years, I discovered that at the end of the day, what is this purpose of management? It used to be when I was the first line manager, when I was an individual contributor promoted to be the first line manager, I used to question myself, what is this management all about? In a technical environment, generally what happens is the smartest, or if you are a performer, you get promoted quite quickly and rise to the ranks. And that's what started to happen with me, because I was good at some things. Promotions and climbing up the ladder became easy at the lower rungs of the management. But that question constantly intrigued me. What is this management about? What is the purpose of management? And this is it. To build strong organizations, that's number one. It's to build effective teams and getting work done through people. And again, the word is work done through people. And then developing skills and capabilities of people. Also, what I realized that sometimes the work environment may not be streamlined. The processes may not be streamlined, in which case you have to make sure that the leadership that you offer is setting the direction, setting the pace. Otherwise, chaos would reign and the team would fall apart. And last but not least, and this is the most important thing from secret perspective, is at the end of the day, whether you are the first line manager or a senior manager and a seasoned one, it's your responsibility to grow people, coach people to develop their careers. I have seen managers who would not take care of people. And then there are managers that I admire and still are my role model, who grew people in their organization, and they become the ideals or the role models for management and future growth as well. Bottom line, people are the nucleus of business. Whether you're managing projects or whether you're managing people in the sense that their activities, people are the source of energy that makes the engine of the business work. You have to concentrate on them. And as a manager, you have to channel that energy to making an impact, because it's people. At the end of the day, people matter. And the impact and multiplication of those people that are working for you or working on your project to building a higher level of impact and significance for the project, or the company that you're in. So to start off, let's be clear about one thing. And if you have a paper and pencil handy at this moment of time, write this down. As a manager, we sometimes claim actually ourselves as we are people manager. Not really. As a manager, what your responsibility is you need to get work done through people. So underline the word through. You manage not people, but manage through people. And you have the responsibility of getting the task done through people, not by yourself. So how do you as a manager get work done through others? Well, you yourself, when you are not in control of yourself, how can you expect others to getting work done? That's a management dilemma, as well as a challenge in almost every manager face. How do you as a manager get work done through others? So I'll share some of the secrets and some of the steps, what I had learned over my 27 years, and you get this easy now. So it starts with, I call it expectations of you as a manager. And sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear, but let me give it to you right here. So it's best that we dissect the roles and activities of management into the following six tasks. And these are the expectations that you need to super exceed to be a master of management. Starts with clarity of goal, setting clear goals. Number 2, developing an action plan. Number 3, solving problems and facilitating work of others. 4, providing feedback. And steering and controlling, along with rewarding and recognizing. With that said, let me start at the top, setting clear goals. It is obvious that the leadership of the company has to provide the vision and set clear direction of the organization. The leadership, by the word leadership, I mean executives, people who are responsible for the direction of the company. Manager's role is to define goals and objectives for the team to accomplish. So it's the duty and responsibility of the management to execute that vision. Basically, the strategy aspect of it is defined by the executive leadership. The management role and responsibility is to making sure the tactics that apply towards that strategy are executed. The clearer these goals are, the easier for the people to accomplish them. I had teams in the past where the direction, I inherited teams where the direction of the team was not clear. And I spent enormous amount of time clarifying the goals. And you know what? The reward and benefit of all this was almost 10 times. You say 1 minute of planning and setting goals and clarifying results in 10 times better productivity later. So there's no other secret than having a clear set of goals. So if you're a first line manager, or if you have inherited teams, or if you're already a seasoned manager, and if you have not created a goal, objective, or a mission statement for your group, this is the time to do it. Because this is the master skill, setting goals. Your ability to set goals and priorities is key to success. This is not easy. Believe me, it is not easy. The natural human tendency is follow the path of least resistance. We tend to major in minors. We work on minutiae and leave the important things in their own destiny. And sometimes important things don't even get done. You must learn to swim against this natural current, to resist or conquer this law of least resistance. You must be focused on things that really make impact and make a difference to the company. Now, there are several techniques to doing so. Given the time is very short, we'll have a more concentrated discussion later. I'll talk about it. But a few things that I can and give you a quick preview of how you take a bigger problem and divide it into smaller ones to take easy steps. Because as I said, setting goals is not easy and it's time consuming. So it starts with vision, goals, plans, and actions. Vision is a clear mental image of the end result. This generally comes from the executive team in a management, in a corporate, or even a small company environment. As an example, what this vision would look like, and I'm sharing this with my high-tech company that I had worked with. A few years ago, Intel, the vision was be the worldwide supplier of building blocks for PCs. And that was singularly written everywhere in all the places, in all the walls of the company, all the cubicles, all the offices. Second of that was the goals. From the vision comes the goal. What is an example of a goal? It's a result towards which the effort is directed towards the vision. That is, example would be a company like Intel launch core processors in January of 2017 to be the worldwide supplier of building blocks for PCs, in congruent with the vision that we got. And then there are plans, that steps to achieving that goal, and then actions, activity would follow. And we would have a very rigorous process, call it management by objective. Each of these goals would have multiple lines of deliverables listed down, and that became our plans and actions. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of how to write goals, but the key secret here is to have them and have them ready and bought in by your staff, direct staff, or the project managers if you're leading project management team. Then comes is developing an action plan, a plan of action. Without a plan of action, all these goals, even if they're written down, they just remain a wish. You have to execute them. Manager must plan the tasks, and also not only that, what you're paid for is to identify the roadblocks upfront. Yes, you will encounter problems during the execution, but the beauty and the rewarding part of management is proactively identifying these roadblocks and achieving the goals ahead of time. Think about, is there adequate resourcing, skills available when you're undertaking a project or a task at hand? And is the team cohesive and aligned to the goals? Let me check if there is a question. Before I move on to the next, talking about facilitation, seems like there is a question that I'm getting asked. Let me see if I can open a Q&A window. Q&A chat. Somehow I'm not able to see the Q&A. Chat, record, video, meeting, audio options. Sorry, I cannot read your Q&A. Maybe if you can put that on a chat window, that may be better. All right. While I'll get the question replicated on the chat window. Oh, okay, here it is. Okay, the question is, when you say getting work done through people, how do you define work? Setting goals is also work. Very good question. When we talk about defining work, what I meant was, in the vision of the company, there are some activities that you need to do. And in alignment of that future vision, what are some of the things that you need to accomplish? Now, goal setting itself is work, and you as a manager have to take time. And there's an art and skill to setting goals. The best I can say at this moment of time is defining goals itself is a work, agreed, but this is one of the key responsibilities of you as a manager, as a leader of the group. And we'll touch upon this a little bit more in the later section, how this all ties together. Okay, so with that said, I was talking about plan of action. So manager must not only plan the action or the tasks, but also identify the roadblocks or some of the details needed to getting the project or the plan executed. And so in a fast-paced environment, it is absolutely required that you have teams built quickly. And the employee integration, the team not only aligned to the goals, but performing to the expectations. That's what gets the productivity going of a team. In fact, if you have not already noticed in the foil, the acronym team is an actually acronym, TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more, right? So the idea is multiplication of your effort, and you as the leader of that team, the manager of the team, is accountable to form the teams quickly, let them gel quickly, and also set the goals and set the pace to getting things done as quickly as possible. Okay, with that said, let me move on to the next slide. Okay, next. All right, so solving problems. Once the people and projects are aligned, your next task is to help your team members integrate and solve problems and achieve results. Generally, what happens, especially in the first level management, is because you are generally promoted from bottom up, you have the tendency to do things on your own because you think that you can solve the problems quickly. The idea is not to get into what is known as this micromanagement or solving problem yourself. The idea, again, remember, if you have written this down, it is managing through people, not by yourself. So ask these questions to yourself. How do I handle changes to business objectives or resources? When changes are happening, do I jump with my 2 feet on, try to grapple with it, or do I go help others, facilitate the work of others, or empower them to making decisions? How do I stop solving others' problems for them? Am I a micromanager? Am I too much spoon feeding my organization? How well do I know the problems and opportunities? Am I very well grounded with my team? or the project that I am in? These are some tough questions, but it will give you some insight into what's your work style. And one of the mantras, one of the key things, one of the secrets here is, again, is management through people again. Help your team members solve problems. Yes, sometimes you may encourage, you may show them how to solve the problems, but as much as possible, let them be empowered to solving problems themselves. The second part of problem solving is facilitation. Now, facilitation also means that there will be problems. And facilitation also means you may have to form task forces depending upon the urgency of the problem, or longer term teams to solving more complex problems. The idea here is for the manager to identify and determine the root cause and offer possible solutions to solve these problems, because these are the ones that become roadblocks to companies or the project success. So ensure that you're managing your internal and external stakeholders. Don't consider your team as a manager as the only responsibility. You have your co-travelers, fellow travelers, people that you report to. There could be peers, other organizations. I call it vendors, customers, you name it. So there's dependencies, and you have to manage your internal. When I say internal, your direct reports perhaps, or the direct project that you're managing. But not only that, where the output of your team going to, and facilitating the output as well, and managing the external stakeholders that you are dependent on, or providing results to, or getting results from. There's a whole course around meeting management, because this gets into, when we are talking about facilitation, when we are talking about forming task forces, when we are talking about managing big groups, you have to make sure that you're mapping your meetings efficiently and managing your internal and external stakeholders. Often, if that's not taken into account or not addressed early enough, what you'll find is a labyrinth, I call it, of meetings. So many meetings going on, and people, instead of getting work done towards the goal that we just talked about, attend meetings, and it becomes dysfunctional organization. I've seen those symptoms in the organization as well, if this facilitation is not properly taken care of by the management. Okay. The fourth thing here is communication and in form of a feedback. I have, as part of my management as well, earlier, especially when I was rising through the ranks, it was difficult for me to providing feedback, crisp feedback to the employees, to the people that we were working on, to getting things done. I realized later that this is the most important part of management, is providing feedback. Things will be getting done, sometimes to your expectations and sometimes not to your expectations. It's your responsibility to constantly provide feedback as the work is getting done. Open your mouth, write things down, provide feedback if it's going better for the good, or for the good of the project. Yes, congratulations are on order. If things are not meeting your expectations, be communicating. Don't wait for the annual performance reviews or certain interval of time. Be spontaneous sometimes, and give feedback as quickly as possible, because time matters. And this can occur through, in larger groups, what used to happen is operations review. We would ask for objective status, issues, and plans. And sometimes through individual one-on-ones, just sitting down in a private environment and just talking and saying, what's going on? Can we have a quick check of what the issues are? And how can I help as a manager to solving these problems? So to keep track on the work, and frequent and as quick and quality feedback is a must, and ingrain that as part of your management practice. Here I show an indicator called performance indicator. Many of you may have seen this before. It's a very simplified way of managing performance and providing feedback. The blue line that I show is manager's expectation. When you join a company, when you are new to the group, that the line 0, or the intersection of the y-axis, which is the performance indicator, and time, the x-axis, you see the intersection 0, 0. And that means the manager and the employee just got together first time, and that may be a new team being formed, or you just got hired into the job. Over time, what happens is the expectation continues to grow on you as an employee and as a manager. Year over year, you are, been there, done that, so you should be performing better, and that's how this blue line starts to develop. What typically happens, and that red line that I'm showing there in that graph, is the performance line. This is the employee performance or the project performance. And over time, that the blue and the red, the expectation and the performance, start to diverge. And what I show at any instant of time in that vertical arrow called gap starts to emerge. It's utmost important, and this is a great concept, by the way. If you again have a paper pencil, I'll share all these slides and the audio and the video of this presentation. But this is one very powerful way to manage your team. Look at expectations, where things are, providing feedback. Now, I'm showing the gap as negative at this moment of time, where the employee performance is below expectation. But it could be sometimes that the red line, the performance of the employee, is above the blue line, right? So how do you harness the energy of your performers as well? And this becomes a great tool, by the way. Another secret in providing feedback is manage the expectations and manage the performance constantly, frequently. Next thing is, I take this analogy of driving a car and management and team and career development. Steering and controlling, just like car, when you have a goal, you have to get there from point A to point B, you need to steer and control, right? Otherwise, you may not be able to reach the destination. Your team also needs steering and controlling. Often the project or task faces shifts in goals and objectives. Things will change. As I said, in this highly dynamic and changing environment, what happens is project goals change, reorganizations happen, companies' directions change, economy changes, right? So we need to respond according to the landscape changes that the driver, obviously does on the road, depending upon the road conditions. So take corrective action if things are not making progress. Take action. Take action in terms of reiterating the goals. If the team is struggling with the resources, see if you can facilitate, seek resources. If not, how you want to steer it. Maybe we absorb, we create what is known as our zero-based budgeting. These are the things that we can do, which we'll be able to accomplish solidly. If extra task comes in, negotiate. But at the end of the day, you have to steer and control. Because another secret here, which I'm sharing with you, is this bottleneck that happens all the time, which I call manager's bottleneck. What happens is, generally, we don't set goals, we don't plan, and expect things to happen magically. And then, what happens? Crisis, urgency. The project is due tomorrow, or there's a review with the executives tomorrow. So we start into what is known as a scramble mode. The reason we get into the scramble mode, I'll call it the bottleneck, is because we skipped somehow the goal setting, planning, facilitating, and looking at problem, trying to solve on our own, right? If you skip all these problems or these steps, then what happens is you end up steering the car in a much more controlled fashion. In this situation, the manager may compensate. What generally happens is you make diving catches. You take a strong control of the car or of the project. Now, we all talked about people in here, and people means working with people, getting work done through people. It is demoralizing, actually. The moral of the person when the manager, he or she, sees stooping down and spoon feeding or trying to solve the problem himself or herself, the manager then becomes a non-trusted authority figure. Team members resent the new interference, and that diminishes their confidence. The control at that time becomes negative, not positive. So secret here is avoid this manager bottleneck. How do you do that? Well, follow the steps 1 to 4 that we just talked about. Set goals, plan the work, provide the facilitation, provide feedback constantly. If not, you'll end up into this, call it negative control. Okay, last but not least here, and this is one of my favorites, is rewarding and recognizing. Often at times, what happens is projects get completed and we attain our finish line or get to the finish line, but without, I call it the pat on the back. And pat on the back means, hey, if the project was done well, recognizing good performance. We either beat the schedule, we exceeded the goals. Rewards and recognition is very crucial at that moment of time. In bigger corporations specifically, what I've seen is projects end and then we move on to the next one, either call it a refresh or whatever the new project is. The team sometimes maybe dismantle, another project starts. But sometimes there's a delay, there's a lag between the accomplishment and the celebration. It has to be timely. You lose the spontaneity of the recognition if it is not timed correctly. Recognize good performance. This can be done at the end of the project, or actually you don't have to wait for the project to end. Do it incrementally. Even if you're meeting smaller milestones, celebrate success. Give a pat on the back. Because another secret here is what gets recognized gets repeated. Recognizes good performance, set the stage for repeat performance. A small pat on the back. Now, again, I'll say one size may not fit all, and again, talk more in the mastery course of our management. There are techniques. One size may not fit all for the employees, for individual employees. Some may like money as a recognition. Some might just pat in the back or a small thank you note. But as a manager, as a leader, you have to make sure that you're recognizing good performance. I'll pause here, and if there are any questions, see if there are on the chat window that has come up. So far, seems like none that I see. Okay, so let me move on then to my summary. So what are the 6 secrets of managerial success? As I have learned, and as the wisdom and the experience that I shared. Number 1, it starts at the top, the clarity of goals. Set clear goals. Developing a plan of action. Solving problems and facilitating work of others. Providing feedback, steering and controlling, and rewarding and recognizing. Again, I'll pause here and ask questions via chat. And I'll share my personal experience with all this. If you, as I said, the very top one, setting clear goals, very important. In fact, I took a lot of time with my staff and my personal time to setting very clear goals for the team. I would sit down personally, write them up, do a draft of what my vision and goals were, would go to people, my direct staff, talk to them about it, get an agreement before we finalize, and we would make it an iterative process, quarter over quarter, month over month. There's a whole process around tops down, meaning looking at the vision and what we talked about, getting your action plan. There were also bottoms up method where you know what you are doing already and apply both to understanding what's happening on a day-to-day basis, and then grouping them or bucketizing them to goals that were relevant and meaningful for the company. apply both techniques. And personally speaking, setting goals starts with the top. The second thing I would say is providing feedback is very important. The performance indicator, either use it as part of your annual performance reviews, mid-year reviews, or even in one-on-ones, periodic reviews to check. But bottom line, with that providing feedback is also growth of the employees. There are action items. We think that, and mostly there's a myth around managers being responsible for developing the careers of the employees. Yes, there is some truth to it, but it's actually the employee's responsibility to grow careers. But providing feedback and communication gives that channel of understanding between the manager and the employee. I used to take, there was this migration that happened personally within me when I started to move from first line manager to second line to an executive career. There's an element of growing your people, because at the end of the day, if you can migrate from being a manager to the next level of leadership and coaching, that's the most rewarding thing that you can do as a manager. Steering and controlling, of course, and then last but not least, rewarding and recognizing. There were several examples about recognizing and people not being recognized timely. Share your celebration, share your happiness with others, and you'll see a lot of wonders. Any questions, any message that you'd like to share, any thoughts through the chat window, please? Okay. If not, a few more things. There are still things that are still missing from this. One is, given the shortness of time, we got about 20 minutes, we need to conclude this presentation. There's a lot of things that we can apply time to implementing these ideas. How do we go about doing this? How do I set goals? How do I delegate? How do I manage a team that is young and energetic and but need focus? What tools to use to plan and manage your team projects? There are several tools that are in existence that I can share with you to manage your team. As an example, looking at your resource plan. How do you strategically plan and develop a resourcing plan or a headcount plan or a project plan that gets you to the finish line? And you know what? After all, we are human beings. Human beings, in the sense that we are so much sometimes focused on the project, we tend to not focus on our soft skills, whether it's in our attitude, in our behaviors. They're technically very good. We know what we have to do. But sometimes it's just in the relationship when we are managing our internal and external stakeholders, that becomes a problem. It starts, there are things that are within your control and there are things that are outside your control. But my appeal to you is, you become an extraordinary manager if you start with your own self-development first. It starts with you. And that's what this whole webinar is all about. People and starting with you as a manager. I see over my 27 years of experience, solid managers, first-line managers, solid middle managers, and including actually migrating towards leadership. Sooner or later, sometimes the successful managers that I've seen work on people and develop them. What I've also seen, yes, you will get success with project management and you can get by, but at the end of the day, it's how do you become extraordinary? From my personal perspective, do those 6 things that I just shared with you. Now, a few more things. I do have a special offer, so you can get everything that you need to know. And if you act fast, I'm going to also give you a special deal. There's a course that I put together, a program that I put together called Management Mastery. Your team only gets better with you, starting with you. And in this Management Mastery, talk about the details of not only setting goals, but all the tools that I talked about, planning, problem solving. There's a whole concept around team building, called Tuckman's model of team development. And if you just use some of these performance indicators and tools and are just exposed, that awareness will bring so much of aha moments in you that I'm sure as you migrate through this management mastery program, that's why I call it a mastery program, is you'll get trained and be well versed as a seasoned manager. And then success would just wait for you. It's a 60-minute per week program that I'm putting together with 6 sessions in total. I've already experimented and piloted this with a few people, groups within Intel and with Broadcom and some other companies as well. And I've got some very positive reviews with it. So what you're going to get is clear and detailed description of management tasks and expectations to make you lead with confidence, poise, and build strong teams. The training is offered via interactive weekly webinar type of a thing, so you don't have to leave your desk. And 60 minutes, 6 sessions total. Now, generally, this would value up to $1,000 in my practice. But to get started and to make it compelling for you, generally, I charge about $50 per session. That would make it for 6 sessions, $300. But I'll offer it to you for $250. You can find more at the same website that you clicked in for registering to this particular webinar. Good practical examples will be shared, and some of the feedback has been relevant and refreshing from management at Intel as well. My last call to action for you guys: leverage the ideas that I shared. It took me 27 years to learn them. Use it. You got an acceleration path right away for your own personal advancement. Achieve greater satisfaction. There are changes that are happening, but if you use these secrets wisely, I can almost guarantee that you will make an impact, and a very positive one. Thank you for your time and patience and hearing and listening to me. Before I close, any questions that have come up that I have not addressed fully to your satisfaction? I'm looking at my chat window and see if I can get something. Please use the chat window to communicate, because my Q&A window is not working. If there are no questions, I'll give another 15 seconds before we close. Don't see any questions come on the chat. All right. Thank you very much, guys. We'll close the recording, and I'll share the deck, and I'll share the deck entire. In fact, the whole recording will be made available to you as well. Thank you very much. Bye now.